The empty boat. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled by a tranquil river, there lived a humble fisherman named Chen. Chen was known for his patience and skill, spending his days on the river, casting his nets and bringing home the finest fish for his family. The river was his sanctuary, a place of peace and solitude where he could escape the hustle and bustle of village life. One warm summer evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, Chen decided to take his boat out for a leisurely row. The water was calm, reflecting the colors of the sunset, and the gentle sound of the oars dipping into the river brought a sense of serenity to his heart. As he rowed further downstream, Chen noticed another boat drifting towards him. At first, he thought it was another fisherman returning from a day's work, but as the boat came closer, he realized there was no one in it. It was an empty boat, carried by the current. Chen tried to steer his boat out of the way, but the empty boat continued to drift towards him. Frustration bubbled up inside him, and he shouted, "Hey, watch where you're going." But of course, there was no one to hear his words. The empty boat bumped into his, causing a slight jolt. In that moment, Chen felt a surge of anger. He had been enjoying the peaceful evening, and now his tranquility was disturbed by this careless, unmanned boat. He gripped the oars tightly, his knuckles turning white, and muttered angrily to himself. But then, as he looked at the empty boat, a thought crossed his mind. He realized that there was no one to blame, no careless person, no deliberate act. The boat was empty, just drifting along with the current. Chen took a deep breath and began to reflect on his reaction. He thought about how often, in life, we encounter situations that frustrate or anger us. How quick we are to react, to blame, to let our emotions take control. But sometimes, like the empty boat, there's no one to blame. Sometimes, things just happen, and it is our response that determines our peace of mind. Chen began to row again, this time with a calmer heart. He let the empty boat drift away, carried by the river's gentle flow. He realized that the true source of his disturbance was not the boat, but his own reaction to it. By letting go of his anger, he could reclaim his inner peace. As he continued to row, the evening sky turned dark and the stars began to twinkle above. The river, now a ribbon of silver under the moonlight, seemed to whisper wisdom to him. He thought about the lessons he had learned from the empty boat and how they applied to his life. The next day, Chen returned to the village with a new perspective. He shared his story with the villagers, teaching them the importance of maintaining inner peace, regardless of external circumstances. He told them, life will always bring us empty boats, situations that seem frustrating or unfair. But it is up to us to choose how we respond. We can let anger and frustration take over, or we can choose peace and understanding. The villagers listened intently, and Chen's wisdom began to spread. People started to apply the lesson of the empty boat to their own lives. When conflicts arose, they paused and reflected before reacting. They began to see that many of their troubles were like empty boats, unintentional, beyond anyone's control. Years passed, and Chen's village became known as a place of harmony and wisdom. People from neighboring villages would come to learn the secret of their tranquility, and Chen, now an elder, would sit by the river and watch the boats drift by, smiling to himself. He knew that the true essence of wisdom lay in understanding and accepting the flow of life. Just as the river flowed gently, carrying boats along its current, life would bring its own set of challenges and opportunities. And in every situation, there was a choice, to react with anger or to respond with peace. And so, Chen's story of the empty boat continued to inspire generations, reminding them that true peace comes not from controlling the world around us, but from mastering the world within us.